Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to, as the title says, my personal review and brief breakdown of the story for Star Wars Squadrons and Star Wars Battlefront 2. I figured I'd put them in the same video because I finished both series at the same time, which is funny because I started them, I think, roughly at the same time, so matched almost perfectly. Before I get into the review, just want to say for anybody who watches me on the PlayStation Network, if you want to check out some YouTube channel exclusive content like YouTube shorts from my personal favorite moments of some of the games I play. Go check them over there. I do mostly funny moments, cool moments, funny moments from like character dialogue and stuff like that. Of course, I can't share any shorts on my PlayStation Network, unfortunately. So if you are a PlayStation viewer and you want to check out some shorts and see some of my personal favorite moments from some of these games I play, check out my profile description. Search my handle in the YouTube search. My profile picture is going to be a wolf with a blue background. When I'm able to, I'm going to change my PlayStation profile to that as well, so it'll be easier to find my channel. But, yeah. But, we're going to get into the review now. So basically, I was going to say now, these opinions are solely my own. Someone might not agree with something I say. Somebody might like one story better than another for whatever reason. If you guys want a more specific breakdown of my pros and cons or my personal gripes of some of the story aspects, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will do a separate video on each one, or whatever one you guys so ask me to do. So yeah, that's just my thing. These are just my personal layouts. I'm going to be more focusing on the story itself, the plot, and how I feel the stories were executed. And we're going to start with personally my least favorite, and that was Star Wars Squadrons. The the story for Squadrons wasn't the worst I've seen in terms of a Star Wars story. If we're going on terms of the worst Star Wars story I've seen, Solo, a Star Wars story, that one was fucking terrible. But we're not talking about Solo today. The story for Squadrons, I feel like when Lyndon defected to the Empire, not to the Empire, defected from the Empire to the New Republic, Rebel Alliance, whatever you want to call it, it became very obvious what it was going to be as the story kind of progressed. Because Teresa got so obsessed with getting revenge. And yes, there's nothing wrong with a good revenge story. A good revenge story is great if it's done properly. I feel like that the story, as it became very obvious as time went on, that she was not going to stop until her compulsive need to find Linda and destroy him was accomplished. And she didn't care what she had to do it. She very much overlooked the bigger picture of the Empire and fighting the rebellion. The rebels, we're going to just get into a quick little lore bit here for my rationale for this part. The Rebel Alliance depended on the impulses of the Empire to make reckless, rash, and irrational decisions. And she played right into their hands, as anybody knows who's played Star Wars Squadron. She played right into it. So, in terms of that, the story became very obvious very quickly. And okay, yes, there was lots of interactions with the crews from Vanguard Squadron and Titan Squadron. The characters were interesting. Like they were well put together characters. But if we're comparing it to other Star Wars games like Battlefront 2, because I'm going to be making some comparisons later, the character development and such between the characters from Squadrons and Battlefront was nowhere near the same. There was really no change with the Squadrons characters, despite the time change. Because Project Starhawk took a very long time to do. And we're at the point in the story where the Empire is barely clinging on to whatever territory it has left. The quote-unquote New Republic is coming together. So we're talking like decades almost. And the characters don't change much. While with Battlefront, I'm going to try not to say too much on that because I do have my separate opinions on that. The separation between the timelines on Battlefront was so well done. Like, I'm just gonna say this before I get to the Battlefront review. EA fucking knocked Battlefront 2 out of the park for the story. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna go back to picking apart freaking Squadrons. Okay, so again, I'm skipping over a bunch of this. If you guys want to see a more detailed breakdown of each game, let me know. Hit the like button, comment below, let me know, and I will do a more specific review of each one. So, yeah, character development is my biggest issue. The final battle, I'm not gonna lie, it was interesting. I like how the final battle came together, but again, story, it was just not there. It didn't feel very engaging for me. Like, yeah, you're playing first person. I fucking love the pilot views. I love the cockpit views. It was fun as hell. I love that as a game mechanic. But the story, it didn't feel engaging. That's my biggest gripe with that. Again, final battle, fun as hell. But when Lyndon made his sudden reappearance, it became very obvious that this wasn't going to be a story about triumph with loss. Because if you think about it, some story arcs of any genre, they usually have a character sacrifice themselves for the rest of the group. And it's like, this victory or this moment goes out to this person. And it's a very somber triumph, letting you know that, hey, these things are not done without loss. And it more emotionally puts you in the story. Because it's like, you know, damn, this is such a good ending. Too bad this guy or this person died. Like, it really sucks. But when he made his sudden reappearance, it was like, this isn't going to be the kind of story that they were building it up to be. This isn't going to be a heroic sacrifice and heroic triumph over evil type thing. This is going to be a, hey, I'm alive, let's go celebrate and have it all be fine and dandy. That is what really personally killed it for me, because, again, you're not emotionally involved in the story anymore at that point. The story became very obvious, it was very slow, very dried out, and then it was like very obvious how it was going to end. And my only other issue, some people may like it, some people might not. My issue with the whole switching perspectives view. Like, I didn't mind having the having the options to play, well, not so much the option, but like the ability to play both RA and EG stories was fine. But the fact we spent more time playing as the Empire rather than the Rebels, when the story was obviously meant to be a Rebel victory and triumph, didn't make a lot of sense to me. Because out of like 14 missions, you spend the majority of the time playing as the Imperials. So it's like, why am I playing mostly the Empire, or getting to see more of the Imperial perspective, than the Rebels? And I'm not gonna lie, the story did well on kind of exposing the narrow-mindedness and lack of vision for the Imperial officers. When the Emperor died, and they were all kind of just clinging on to like what command they had left, they didn't really see the bigger picture. They all started acting very selfishly, acting in their own accord, acting because yeah, sure, the Emperor died, but think about it. He still had his right-hand man. There was still all the government agencies. There's the bureaus, the military commands, and all that. They started to act very separately from all these groups, from all these different forms of command, and what government remained. The Empire and well, not so much the Empire. Well, yeah, I guess the Empire kind of started to fall apart because the admirals and commanders and all that started acting on their own accords, acting on their own personal gains, and Teresa kind of capitalized on that. So in that aspect, Teresa wasn't a bad character. She was just an overdone character. So yeah, basically overall, I think the story was extremely slow. Didn't make an over amount of sense. Character development just wasn't there, and the story just wasn't as engaging as other games we've seen that are Star Wars based or Star Wars fan games, or even older Star Wars games. So yeah, personally, I don't like it. Maybe some. And again, this is just my opinion. Someone could totally love the Star Wars Squadrons storyline. And if you do, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to agree with me. This is just my opinion. I personally don't like it. Battlefront 2, though. I absolutely loved the story. The story was so well paced. It was very well laid out. The characters felt like they had real personality, real growth. Comparing the personality of the characters from Battlefront to Squadrons, the Squadrons ones felt like they had very forced personalities. Like the dynamic and connection they had was very just not there. It felt very forced. While with Squadrons, or not Squadrons, Battlefront, sorry, we get to see real growth. We see the dynamic of Inferno Squadron. And even though, yes, someone could compare Hask to Teresa. Hask, when Inferno defected, got, very much on the I'm gonna get revenge, revenge train. The biggest difference between Hask's revenge and Teresa's revenge is Hask wasn't the main focus of the story, unlike Teresa, who was, let's face it, she was the center of the story. She was the MC. Lyndon and them, okay, technically the player is supposed to be the main character, but the player character in Squadrons did not feel like the main character like we are typically used to seeing in these games. It's not our story being told. We're helping tell the NC story, which to me doesn't feel like it works. But we're kind of getting off topic here. The, the biggest difference, like I said, between Hask and Trissa is Hask was in the background, manipulating a bunch of his goals to get what he wanted. Trissa was front and center the whole time, with Lyndon being in the background. So, it just felt very reversed from what it should have been. But, yeah. Oop, I lost my notes. Overall, the characters are very well done. The story, to me, felt very engaging. It was very involving. Like, even though we're playing as Aiden, and even a couple different characters, like, we ended up playing as Leia Organa, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker. They were all kind of side characters that kind of came together to help tell the wider story. But it all then comes back to Inferno being the main one. We get to see multiple perspectives that help guide Aiden's story until the end. And because we're actually playing Aiden, we're playing the main character. It's our story being told. And I absolutely fucking love how EA did it. It's such a great story. I know some people don't play these games for the stories much anymore, but I personally still play these games for the stories, and I fucking love Battlefront 2 story. It was fucking amazing. And what really captivated me was when we start playing, it's Inferno Squadron, elite Imperial commandos fighting on Endor, and fighting all these different battles. Still, staying true to the Empire, but you kind of get to see as time goes on, the Empire starts to lose more and more ground, more and more territory. And they're starting to question, is what we're doing making a difference? Can we still win? Can we still beat the rebels? Can we beat the New Republic? And that is such a realistic thing, because if you're from a faction, whether it's in any universe, and you're this big powerhouse, and you're like, nothing can oppose us, and you start getting your ass kicked by rebels who take advantage of your size of territory, and you start losing more and more of it, you're going to start thinking, is this worth it? Am I making a difference? Can we make a difference? And it's going to make you start questioning everything. And the conflict of interest between Aiden and Hask on Verdos, when the Empire is basically scorching the planet, it really brought the story home, because Verdos was their home. She didn't like the fact that the Empire, and its, I don't know what to call it, like crusade for power, was willing to destroy their own home, a planet undoubtedly loyal to the Empire, was to get treated like a dissident world. Aiden's just refusal to accept that was perfectly justified. It was such a good reaction. Hask, however, he was a hardliner, and his character development and character personalities, etc., match so well to us. Like, sacrifices had to be made for security. Examples have to be made. We can't let these worlds think just because we have to secure loyalty. And this is how we do it. His attitude was perfect. Aiden's response was perfect. Dell being like, this is wrong. I agree we need to do something, but this isn't it. Was perfect. Their personalities perfectly matched and conflicted of each other. It was such a good balance. All in, all I can say is the story that was told through Battlefront 2 was extremely well laid out. It was extremely well paced. It took time, but it made the most of the time it took. Because I think I recorded like 16, 15, no, I recorded like over a dozen parts in that, and each part was like an episode. So however many episodes it was extremely well done. It was such a good story. It made sense. The pacing was great. It made the most of the time it stretched out with. Squadrons just dragged on, and it felt like some of the stuff we were doing just wasn't really relevant, and we could have just skipped past it. So overall, personally, I love the Battlefront 2 story. Of course, these are just my objective opinions. Anyone else is welcome to share their opinions in the comment section, and please, by all means, absolutely go for it. If you think there was something lacking in one story, or the other story had something more, please feel free to share it. I am very open to hearing what you guys have to say about these two stories. They are very different, but they take place during the same struggles, after the Battle of Endor, leading up to the form of the New Republic and the First Order. So, if there's something you guys want to share, your personal opinions, let me know. And if you want to see a more detailed breakdown of these reviews for each story individually, hit the like button, leave a comment down below telling me which one you'd like to see more specifically, and I'll absolutely do it. I'm going to be recording Jedi Fallen Order right after this, so when you guys watch this, check that out. And I'll also be referring back to this video at the start of that one, just so you guys can see the review video if you don't get notified for this one. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button, and if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. And as I said before, if you are a PlayStation Network follower and you want to see more channel exclusive content, look up my YouTube handle, come over here, check out some of the shorts, and see what some of my personal favorite moments have been playing Star Wars Squadrons and Star Wars Battlefront 2, or just check out some shorts from other random games I've played. I'll see you on the next one. Peace, guys.